welcome back to Afternoon Express, and we're just about to start off with dinner with our fantastic food stylist and head chef, Clem Pedro, and you can cook along with us. All you need to do is visit afternoonexpress.co.za, buy all of these goodies and join us. Now we're starting off with the duck.
With the rice first.
The rice
so
first?
The rice is going to be really hot when we're done, just about to serve. So to start off, what I've got is some jasmine rice, and I've just rinsed it under some cold water until the water runs clear. What that does, takes all the starches out of it. So when we cook it, we'll get sticky rice, but not mushy rice.
Oh, that is
That's
amazing.
the trick. So you can even let the rice just sit in the water for about 10 minutes and then just pour the water out, but it's best to just let it run through in a sieve. So,
okay. And when you say that you're taking all the starch out of it, it doesn't mean you're taking the carbohydrate out of it, hey?
No, because then
what a pity.
No, it's just the excess starch, and you'll see a lot of it is actually dusty in a sense.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll see what I mean once you start rinsing it out. So rice into the pot. There's nothing in there at the moment, just rice, and we pop it on the side. The coconut comes from our coconut milk. If you can pass that on the end.
Yeah.
So we're using coconut milk. You can use...
I'm trying to not try.
Oh, shit, I'm not supposed to ask you. Okay, it's fine. Okay, so coconut milk goes in. So we're using a cup of rice. And we'll use about a cup of coconut milk as well. And depending on the size pot you're using, if it's a pot this size, you're going to need a little more liquid, just to bring the liquid up about... I'll say about 2 centimeters above the rice level.
Okay.
That way it can steam and it starts cooking. So...
Could you even throw coconut flakes in there to make it even more coconutty?
Besides coconut flakes, if you really want to up the coconut flavour in there, toasted coconut flakes. That way it gets that nuttiness in there as well. So just give it a mix, make sure all the water and the coconut cream has mixed through. And what we're going to do to add some aromatic flavour, we're going to use some spring onions and lots of it. It adds an amazing flavour.
Kind of.
Have you got it? Have you got it? There we go. So that goes in. And what I normally do is give it a mix and taste for seasoning. Just once the water's come to temperature, what is it simmering slightly, give it a little bit of salt, and you can actually taste the liquid that's in there. Find out if you want to add more coconut cream a little bit, because it will steam and get absorbed. So it's all about tasting. This dish is complete about balancing flavors.
Okay, but that's what cooking is, essentially, having a little bit of flair for each flavor.
Especially when it comes to part two, because it can literally be the difference between a well-balanced warm dish and let's go to ER. I just burnt every single taste bud in my mouth.
My cooking.
There we go. So for the second part, we'll talk about the duck. I'm using duck breast today, which is an amazing ingredient. When you think about chicken breast, it tends to get a bit dry. Duck, not really. You've got to treat it really well, and you'll end up with really succulent, juicy meat. So you can see the grain of the duck runs along the length of it.
And I mean, how do you buy duck? Do you just, I mean, do butcheries have them, or do you just get ordinary packages as you would chicken?
You could get a whole duck if you wanted to. I don't think it's necessary unless you're planning on doing a roast duck dish. If you're using portions of duck and you don't like either the leg and the thigh or the breast, just buy it separately. The butchers, besides the butchers, our normal commercial stores are all selling duck now.
Okay,
so if you just wanted to do this dish, you don't need to go buy the whole
And
duck.
you do it in little separate chunks like that, as opposed to cooking it whole and then cutting it afterwards.
Because we're going to be stir-frying it. So,
okay, great.
And I don't want to add the whole breast. I mean, you could if you wanted to, but that just creates even more labor. You're going to cook it, take it out, slice it, put it back in. This way, we just slicing it into small pieces, and we know that it's going to be able to be wok fried and cook at enough time. We're not going to end up with overcooked duck or undercooked duck.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's all about the...
Yeah. How about cooking with the skin?
Well, there's so much flavour in the duck, and we're not going to use oil when it comes to frying it off later. We're going to render that fat out of the duck skin. That's the trick. If you're a bit worried about it, take the skin off and use some canola oil or something to start frying it off. Okay. Otherwise, why? Just use the duck fat. It's good. I mean, people buy it separately just to use it for the property.
Yummy. Okay. Coming up after the break, we chat to the Argus winners, and we're going to be making this amazing, amazing duck. But for now, Bonang is on the couch with our fabulous guests. Express yourself. Okay, so now with the duck.
Back to the duck. So I've got my pan on a high heat, and I've given it a little bit of spray and cook just to help it not stick to the pan. Okay. And no oil, no nothing. We're going in with the breast that we've sliced up. Let that start caramelizing, and then we're going to talk about our other ingredients. So don't forget, we slice that quite thinly, so it will be cooked, and not all the way through. Duck, you don't need to cook it all the way through. Oh, got to keep that little tenderness in there. So, these guys.
Yes.
And we're using a lot. We're using like a handful. And I'm not even joking.
I'm all in.
Okay, so the idea is we're not breaking them, we're not cutting them open. Therefore, those seeds aren't going to be like getting into our food.
But these are the dried ones. Does that make them extra hot?
Not really. I don't think you want to. No. But what it does is it just adds a bit of smokiness because you can smell. They smell quite smoky already.
Yeah. Correct.
So we're going to add it to the pan once the duck's caramelized slightly, and yes, that much. It's not going to make the dish hot.
What if one breaks open in there and you get those
trouble.
seeds? Then it's hot.
No, it's not going to. It's not going to be that bad. It's okay. A little bit of the heat going through there is not going to be crazy. The heat is actually going to come from our sriracha sauce, and we're using sriracha specifically. But first, we're just going to make sure our duck is caramelizing nicely. Get that on there. Give it a chefy flip.
I'm so impressed with your chefy flip.
And let's get the chilies in there. And what they're going to do is they're going to start frying as well, seasoning the duck, not blowing our heads off, and adding a bit of smoke to it as well. So, last one. It's not the budget theme anymore.
It's
so
a spicy duck.
Okay, so that's in there. Let's talk about the sriracha. So the sriracha's going in there. Sriracha's not just a normal chili sauce. It's got sugar, it's got garlic, it's got a whole lot of other aromatics in there. Yeah. And it's really seasoned already. We're not even adding any salt to this dish because there's enough seasoning in there.
Love it.
So as that's going, with our sriracha, that much. Remember, sriracha's not really that hot, actually. You're nodding your head, you're like...
No, I like sriracha. I'm a huge sriracha fan.
And another little chefy
But you
flip.
get two different ones that I've noticed. I've got two at home. One that's really hot and one that's a little bit sweeter.
And it's funny, though, because it's a little sweeter, but actually it's a little more sour as well.
Yes.
And that's just the one we're actually using today, which has less heat, more flavor.
Great.
If you're a little worried about it being too sharp, a little sweet chili sauce, just that sugar actually cools everything down. And we're serving it with our coconut rice. So we're not setting people up for like an horrendous ending of our show. Everyone's coughing and sneezing. It's not going to be that bad.
Well, you know what the thing is about Ryan Sands? Like, his body doesn't feel different temperatures. That's why he's been able to do, all these runs all over the world.
And this will be
so
a
I think
true
it's okay. You can
testimony
add
to
in
that.
more heat. He's having this for dinner.
And now finally, you know how we always add lemon or lime to a dish at the end?
Yes.
Just to bring out the flavors. We're going to add some vinegar. What it is, that's that bit of acid that just brings everything together.
Yes. Love.
That's it. Just a little bit. Because if I add all of that, we literally will start coughing and sneezing. And that's our dish done.
Another chef. That's it.
No, I'm sorry about expecting more fireworks, but literally that's it.
No,
done.
I'm so
let's come over this side. Whoop, whoops.
Oh, don't spill your seed. If you were in my kitchen right now, you would have been in a little bit of trouble.
Okay, let's do a swap because I'm going to ask you to watch out for the...
Yes.
I'm going to spoon that in there, and if you can finish with some spring onions.
Just this little sprinkle?
Just a little sprinkle.
How's
More of a
that?
garnish. It actually does help with flavor. And we've got a bit of that spring onion in the rice as well to make it more aromatic.
That is great. I'm actually going to throw in quite a fair amount of this because it's nice, that little bit of freshness.
And that duck is completely cooked through already, so you don't have to worry about having any raw food.
And you're not going to get salmonella like with chicken if you eat it a little bit underdone.
Not at all. You would want to serve duck medium rare. Not medium rare, medium well. Don't serve it raw, but don't serve it overcooked. That's just not cool.
Amazing.
No.
Well, thank you so much. Now we have a glorious duck for dinner. After the break, we take a look at Cycling Academy that aims to uplift the youth in the township of Kailicha. We'll be right back.
How you doing, YouTube fam? Thank you so much for watching, sharing and commenting. We love hearing from you, so be sure to keep up to date with all things Afternoon Express by clicking the subscribe button right here.